Dust Happens, a whirlwind tour of America's dirtiest decade. Alright, gather round history buffs and dust allergy sufferers, because we're about to take a trip back to the 1930s. Imagine, if you will, a time when your morning commute could involve navigating through a wall of dirt so thick you couldn't see your hand in front of your face. No, it's not a scene from a post-apocalyptic movie, it's the Dust Bowl, baby. We're talking about a period in American history when Mother Nature apparently decided to play a massive game of kick the dirt with the Great Plains. It was a time when crops withered, livestock choked, and even the most optimistic farmers considered trading in their overalls for a one-way ticket out of Dodge. The Dirty 30s more than just a fashion faux pas. So what exactly caused this decade-long dirt bath? Well, imagine a perfect storm of bad decisions and even worse weather. Picture this: over-farming in the years following World War I, stripping the land bare. Then, add a dash of drought, a sprinkle of economic depression, and boom! You've got yourself a recipe for ecological disaster, served with a side of dust pneumonia. The Dust Bowl wasn't just some minor inconvenience, it was a full-blown ecological and economic catastrophe. We're talking millions of acres of farmland turned to wasteland, thousands of families forced to pack up their meager belongings and migrate west, desperately searching for work and a lungful of clean air. Ghost towns and dusty dreams, tales from the dry side. These are the stories of places that once thrived but now lie forgotten, buried under layers of dust and time. Now, let's talk about the forgotten towns, the ones swallowed whole by the swirling dust storms. These towns were once bustling with life, but the relentless dust storms turned them into desolate wastelands. Take, for instance, the once thriving town of Peacher, Oklahoma. It was a place where dreams were built on the back of zinc mining. This little town had it all: zinc mining, a bustling main street, and enough dust to make a Sahara Desert nomad cough. The streets were filled with miners and their families, all hoping for a better future. But the good times couldn't last forever. The dust storms grew more frequent and severe, and the mines began to dry up, leading to economic decline. As the dust storms raged and the mines began to dry up, Peacher slowly transformed into a ghost town. The once lively streets became empty, and the buildings started to crumble. Today, it stands as a stark reminder of the Dust Bowl's devastating legacy. The remnants of Piker tell a story of dreams lost to the relentless forces of nature. And then there's Texola, Oklahoma, a town that went from a population of 300 to, well, tumbleweed. It was a place where people once gathered, but now it's a ghost town. You see, Texola decided to play a little game of chicken with Route 66, betting on a highway bypass that never came. The town hoped for a surge in traffic and business, but it never materialized. The result? Let's just say it's easier to find a decent cup of coffee in the Mojave Desert these days. Texola, like many other towns, became a casualty of progress in changing times. Quirks in the dust. When life gives you dust storms, make Dust Bowl recipes. Now, before you think it was all doom and gloom, let's sprinkle in some of those quirky facts we promised. Life during the Dust Bowl was tough, but people found ways to keep their spirits up and make the best of a bad situation. Did you know that during the Dust Bowl, resourceful folks actually used to collect the dust and sell it as fertilizer? Yes, they turned the very thing that was causing so much trouble into something useful. Talk about making lemonade out of, well, they were incredibly inventive and resilient, finding ways to survive and even thrive in such harsh conditions. And if you thought 2020 was bad for sourdough bread baking, imagine trying to whip up a loaf with a dust storm brewing outside. The kitchens were often filled with dust, making every meal a gritty experience. Let's just say gritty took on a whole new meaning. Every bite of food had a bit of the Dust Bowl in it, quite literally. And get this, Black Blizzards weren't just a cool band name in the 1930s, these were massive dust storms that swept across the plains, turning day into night. These were actual dust storms so thick and dark they blotted out the sun. It was like living in a perpetual twilight, with the air filled with swirling dust. It's enough to make you want to invest in a lifetime supply of headlamps and air filters. People had to wear masks and protective gear just to go about their daily lives, showing just how challenging those times were. Echoes in the dust: lessons learned and dusters burned. The Dust Bowl might seem like a distant memory, a cautionary tale from a bygone era, but its impact still lingers in the annals of history. The truth is, the lessons learned from this dusty debacle are more relevant today than ever before. Climate change, unsustainable agricultural practices, and the relentless pursuit of economic growth at the expense of the environment and economic inequality, these are all issues that resonate deeply with the experiences of those who lived through the Dust Bowl. The hardships faced by those families, the relentless dust storms, and the barren lands are stark reminders of what can happen when we ignore the signs. So the next time you see a tumbleweed rolling across your TV screen, or a scene depicting a desolate landscape, or you find yourself complaining about a little bit of dust on your furniture, remember that it's more than just an inconvenience. Take a moment to remember the forgotten towns and the resilient people of the Dust Bowl. Their struggles and their perseverance in the face of such overwhelming adversity are lessons in resilience and determination. Their stories serve as a powerful reminder that even in the face of adversity, the human spirit can endure and thrive. The human spirit can endure, and it is through these stories that we find inspiration. The lessons learned from the past can help us navigate the challenges of the future, ensuring that we do not repeat the mistakes of history.